What's up, you dirtbags? Before we dive into this episode, I want to give a huge shout out to one of our day one supporters, Kinetic Leasing. If you've ever listened to the podcast before, you've definitely heard us talk about them. They are our go-to team for money questions and also getting approved for financing. Not only do they help us, but they help many others that listen to the podcast get approved for financing. It's an application-only financing up to $250,000 on approved credit. They have fast approvals and you can save cash with no money down. At the very least, just give them a call, see what you can get approved for, and then check your rates. A couple ways you can reach out to them. You can give their office a call. It's at 701-476-0221. Just make sure to mention that the Dirtbag sent you, and they'll definitely help you out. And then you can also email them, sales@kineticlease.com. We also have all of their information on the Dirtbags podcast website. So go check them out, tell them we sent you, and let's get into it. All right, what's up, you dirtbags? My name is Luke Egerbrotten, and we are here with my co-host, Mr. Luke Payne. How's it going, man?
Cheers, brother. Cheers to your NA Heineken, because I believe you are doing the 75 hard. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. I think 8 days in and going pretty strong. I mean, it's been fun. I think the alcohol part's been the easiest. I've done the sober thing once before, but I think the timing of the workouts has been the biggest struggle because it's two workouts. You know, one has to be outside. They have to be 45 minutes, which I've never struggled getting the one in a day, but trying to get that outside one in first thing in the morning, that's like been super important. But yeah, man, it's been going good.
Well, I can't imagine trying to do an outside workout when you're in Arizona when it's like 130 degrees. So hats off to you for that one.
I mean, it's a lot better now in the winter. So if I would have done it in the summer, there's no way. So yeah, I mean, and then I still have to figure out, I'll be back in Minnesota for 7 days for Christmas. So might just schedule a couple hockey games or something.
Good plan. Good plan. I told Rye, I said, as soon as she gets pregnant, because we're trying for more, obviously, I said, as soon as she's pregnant, I'm done drinking. So whenever that day comes, that's when I'm going to start my 75 hard too.
Dude, that's perfect. And honestly, it worked out perfectly for me because, you know, like you and I talked about, I had a goal set. If I didn't hit my goal, I have to give up drinking again. And I was like, why not just roll it into 75 hard because I'm already not drinking. So that's going well. I'm excited and got a couple of people to join with me. So
dude, cheers to you, because I know it's not an easy feat, but we're not here to talk about your 75 hard. We are here. Luke, I'll let you take it away.
Dude, we have a massive guest. Luke, I know we've been talking about this one for a while.
One's been on the books for a while.
Yeah, I've actually known him. We had to go through his security to get him on, but I've actually known him for a while just through Instagram. We met up in Vegas at Con Expo, but we've got the man behind J-AAR Excavating. We've got Kyle Brady in the studio, also the founder of Brady Visuals. How's it going, man?
Good. How you guys doing?
Good, man. Thanks for taking
to be on here. Cheers.
Cheers. What is that, a Coors? Ooh, man to my own heart.
Whatever's cold in the fridge.
I love it.
Yeah, speaking of whatever's cold in the fridge, how was the old last night?
Oh, it was good. Yeah. Working after hours, you know. Yeah. Instead of a hockey game, took some customers out. That's
nice.
The usual.
Nice.
Awesome. I love
Kyle, it. Give us a little like rundown. Like, what do you do?
That's a loaded question. So basically I am business development,
dinners.
Yeah, business development and then marketing for the John Group, J-AAR Excavating. We focus, or I focus on the customer relationships, existing customers, making sure they're happy, taken care of, as well as getting new customers and new work brought in. So on top of that, kind of the social media side, marketing, websites, Instagram, those are probably the main ones I would say, is Instagram, and we kind of started TikTok here and there, but it's not very active, and LinkedIn seems to work pretty good for us too. So
yeah, you guys have I mean, if nobody follows you guys, I mean, J-AAR Excavating, I believe on Instagram and LinkedIn, like you guys have blown up over the last few years. So like, when did you start and where were they at with their social media platforms before you started?
So I started in 2020, actually right when COVID kind of started. So that kind of slowed me down, I would say, at the beginning, because it's tough when you got to meet. Your whole job is to meet people and grow relationships, and then you can't really do anything in person. So that kind of hurt things a bit, I would say, at the start. But Instagram, we were already doing pretty well. One of the owners, he was kind of running it, and he would post very often and consistently, and we did have a good following. I think we were 22 or 23,000. Like we were already up there. So he was doing a good job, and it was mainly pictures like 4 or 5 years ago too. So
Nice.
but yeah, he had things rolling pretty good. And then when I started, I brought a drone from the previous job I was at, and I would just fly it when I was visiting sites, show customers, this is what we do. I found that easier to show customers than them listen to me and want to hear me run my mouth. So I figured I would show them the job sites. But then I just started posting those like aerials and videos, started making videos. I didn't really go to school for it or anything. You just kind of learn via YouTube tutorials, or just kind of slap some videos together and put some trending music, some country music in there every once in a while, and people seem to like it. So that was kind of the start of my taking to the Instagram, I would say. And then it just kind of, you just kind of get better and see what the competition's doing, see what Build Wit and Ken White and those guys are doing, and you just kind of roll with it.
Yeah. So when they hired you, what was the original vision for your role? And like, did it change over time, or was this the vision to bring you in to do this?
The vision was mainly business development. That was the why I was hired, and we're London based, London, Ontario, in Canada. But an hour away roughly is Kitchener-Waterloo. So we wanted to grow kind of that way. We started growing. We had a few road reconstruction jobs there, a few subdivisions, but they didn't want to continue to build that up. But with COVID, I was pretty much stuck to my house. There were, the handful of guys that would meet, no problem. So we still were growing. It was just, that was a little bump in the road, I would say. But that was the ultimate goal, was focus on the customers, bring in some new work. And then, yeah, I think Ryan, the CEO, president, he saw a lot of value in these aerial posts and pictures, and me interacting with the employees in the field too. Like at first they were a little skeptical, like, oh, why is a drone flying around? But
Yeah.
Once they saw me and saw like what I was posting, and they, they show their kids, right? Like that was the big thing, is these guys can go home and show their kids, look what daddy did today or mommy did today. And they took to it pretty good. So, and we started getting resumes in pretty quickly, like weekly, based on what the people were seeing online, right? So yeah.
Going into that, did you know, like when you started posting those things, was that like your goal going into it? Like, I want, the business development side, but did you think that it would be more on the employee, like hiring side? Or were you like, I'm just trying to show a broad spectrum of what we do?
Yeah, I kind of, at the beginning, like I said, I would just take, your before pictures of an intersection, say, and I took those, kind of just buried them away for the time being. And then I would go at the end of the project or midway, you take like your progress pictures and then your end shot. So then there was one roundabout I posted, and like you saying, I kind of just started doing it for the business development side, to say, hey, look, this is what we can do, this is the quality, and post that on LinkedIn. That's where you get more of the customer side, I feel. So they saw that, and it was easier to show them rather than tell them. But then, like you're saying, in the meantime, you get other guys saying, oh, you guys are busy, you got nice clean equipment, you guys look like you take care of your employees. So it started to work both ways, and now I think it's pretty even, or more so helping the recruitment side, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Before this next question, I got
Uh-oh.
stop. I'm sweating like a dog.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, sorry.
There it is.
I gotta ship you one, I think, though. I need your address.
I love it. Yeah, we had messaged each other on Instagram a while back, and we were both like, "Yeah, we need to fucking switch shirts and just do that when
Dude,
we both must have just gotten busy."
I've had
Yeah.
so many compliments on this shirt. I wear it all the time. They're like, "You're not Canadian." I'm like, "Yeah."
That is a
Like,
badass. I
it's
love the
sweet.
logo.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was, like I said, I walked into this. The brothers had great branding. It was all set up. It made my job easy, and it still makes my job easy. So, but yeah, I
So
just kind of ran with it.
I've got a question off of that then that just kind of spurred. Do you think what would you do differently if you were dropped in a situation where it was like a mom and pop, or let me rephrase that. It's still a big excavation company, but they don't have any branding and they don't have any presence. Like, what would you do differently in your role?
Yeah, my first thing would say to either rebrand or come up, like, have a brand, a plan, like a goal and a plan. Or I mean, they gotta want it too, right? Like,
Yeah.
maybe they don't care. There's a lot of big excavation companies out there that they get the job done, they get the work, they price the work accordingly, and they don't care. At the end of the day, they go home and they get their paycheck and take care of their employees still, and they're not too worried about the look, I guess. So it just depends. I'm all for branding, like even with the Brady visuals, or my friends have companies too, and I'm always bugging them. Hey, you got a sweater? You got a hat or whatever? I'll rock it. Where like more than half of my wardrobe is other people's companies or
Yeah.
J-AAR stuff. So
Dude, that's awesome. If you
doesn't
don't mind, let's
prove.
I want to ask you a little bit about Brady visuals. So this is
Yeah.
fairly new, right? I mean, within the year.
Yeah, this is just probably a couple months now, probably in the summer, I think. And that's just again, like I started with the drone, um, and then you take pictures with your phone, but then the quality. Ryan wanted quality stuff on the J-AAR website and Instagram, high quality pictures, high quality videos. So when you get that, and you got the distance too, from where you park your truck or where you're standing in a safe area to where the work is, you could have 100 feet, 200 feet, whatever it is, or more. So that's when you get into needing, better quality cameras and stuff. So, bought some camera gear, bought some bigger lenses, got, like, I enjoy it. I do like doing that stuff. Not every day, 24/7, but I had people asking me, can you, come take family pictures, or can you come take pictures or videos of my business? Like my friends that have these smaller businesses. And I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. And then I just kept getting asked to do these one-off things. So I was like, well, they're DMing me or texting me. I said, I might as well just set something up where they can funnel the requests elsewhere, and then get paid, or maybe pick up the odd random one-off jobs here and there. And I don't mind doing it. I enjoy it. So yeah.
How does that work with, like, your role in the business? And then was there any pushback basically from the owners of like, hey, no, go do your thing too. Like, we see what you can do for us. If you expand it and kind of, build your own thing, that's totally okay. Cause I know a lot of people that have done that in like our area, to where they'll be like a visual creative, but they'll still be working for somebody full time.
Yeah.
But then the owners have a huge problem with that. And I feel like it's like, well, you're kind of missing the point here, because doesn't that help grow the awareness? Doesn't that kind of help grow the brand as far as like you in itself?
Yeah. Yeah. No, and Ryan, so when I do refer to Ryan Arts is my boss, and he's the CEO. So Ryan, I brought it up to him, and I just said, hey, listen, like, I get asked to do stuff on the weekends or after hours or whatever. Do you care? And the whole company is very like, reach your greatest potential, like reach your full potential. Whatever you want to do, like they'll put you through courses or this and that for training. Whatever your goal is in the 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, like they'll help you get there. So he was all for it. He just said, hey, as long as it's not interfering with your day to day, your work here, then no problem. And most of the time, my stuff that I do is on a Saturday or Sunday, anyways. And if it's with friends, they make time on the weekends or whatever. So it hasn't interfered any. And if anything, it helps me stay kind of sharp on the video making and picture taking, because you're always learning with that stuff. You're always watching YouTube or whatever to see how somebody made a video or a transition or whatever. So yeah, it helps me keep up to date on that stuff. I did hire somebody too about 6 months ago to help out with the marketing. So he joined the team in May or so, June. Same thing. He's just like a visual creator, like you said. Takes pictures, does all that on the side still too, and puts videos together. And there's a bit of a learning curve at first because he's never been on a construction site, whereas I've had the background, and most of the people generally have some kind of construction background that we see. But yeah, so just teaching him the safety awareness of being around equipment and stuff, what to look out for. But now he's good to go, and yeah, he's helping out a lot.
So that would be for J-AAR he was hired, or for Brady Visuals?
No, J-AAR, yeah.
Oh, for J-AAR. Okay, so
to help you out with that stuff. Yeah,
I see.
So my question with like the marketing side of things, obviously, you know, since like 2020, when you got hired, I feel like there's been such a shift in people on like TikTok and Instagram and what they're putting out. What's your strategy on how you stay current? What's your strategy on how you like, this is going to be the next, I don't want to say best thing, but like, this isn't something that everybody else is doing. Like, where do you get that from?
Honestly, just scrolling like Instagram or TikTok, you're always going to see, I can't say I'm first for anything. Like that's not true. There's definitely people out there that do this full time, that do this 7 days a week and make a killing. I'm sure that they are way ahead. Like their videos are 10 times better. You know, you're paying thousands of dollars for these videos, and you just kind of find a video that you like or you think's cool, and I honestly just Google it or go to YouTube and say, hey, how do you do this transition, or how do you do this video? Or Adobe's, like, I've never used Adobe up until about 2 years ago, Photoshop and Premiere, and I don't even have After Effects or anything yet, but that's kind of the next thing to learn, teach myself, I think. But yeah, it's just about watching what's out there, scrolling, checking out other videos, creators, checking out the competition just to stay fresh and stay on top of it. And that's generally what I do. That's about it.
So when it comes to the different platforms, because obviously, you use multiple platforms, like you mentioned, like if you could rank them as far as like what you prefer, like if you could only keep one, like how would you rank those top down?
I would say Instagram's first right now, and our biggest asset, I guess you could say. Most engagement we get is on that. And that's mainly because, like, I'm not sure the percentage, but a lot of our employees do have Instagram. They'll take their pictures or videos and their stories and tag us, and I have no problem. Like, I'll repost as long as, again, there's safety and no swearing and this and that. Like, we have a few rules, but I would go with Instagram because I don't know. I don't think I would have met you guys even without Instagram, right? So Instagram, and then LinkedIn would probably be my next, and that's more so for reaching even recruiting like estimators and PMs and stuff, but also the developers and the potential customers. Because if, like, I was in Kitchener last night, and you see development signs all over. I've never heard of some of these companies. I go like right to LinkedIn, check them out. You either add a few people or you Google them then, and you give them a call, and that's how you form new connections. So that TikTok would probably be, we actually just started posting a few things on YouTube, not for the views or anything, just because the video quality can be transferred over to our website and it stays a lot better quality. That's what we were told, at least. So that's why we went that route. But for engagement, I would go Instagram, LinkedIn, and probably TikTok just because of the reach again is huge. I don't know how the algorithms all work and how all that works. It's just by luck, it seems.
Yep.
Every couple of videos is spikes, and then you're down and wondering why you only got 1,000 views or whatever it is, 5,000 views, and then one will get 100,000 views. So it's like, sure, did something right, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Luke, what are your thoughts and experiences on, for obviously Black Iron and Western?
Dude, I've been taking a break from all of social media lately, just because I feel like I have so much to learn that my opinion right now, I'm talking LinkedIn, I don't have anything that I can put out to LinkedIn that would be good, so I'm holding off on that. My TikTok, I mean, we're so busy with work. It's like, I don't have the time to send Nick, our video guy, to these places and be like, hey, here's what I want, just because we're so caught up. So honestly, I mean, I haven't posted in LinkedIn in 3 months, 4 months, probably. And I don't know if it's tarnishing anything or what, but I love LinkedIn. I love to scroll it, and I love to see like people within the industry conversing with each other and really kind of taking on, I almost want to call it like the new era of excavation, because, it's a lot more digital now. It's a lot more focused on like the company itself, which is super cool. But I don't have anything to put out right now because I'm still learning, if that makes sense. But as far as like reach, TikTok is great. I mean, you can post a cool video of a black machine or a machine with a big old fucking maple leaf on the back, and people are like, oh, hell yeah, I'm coming to work for you. Where do I send my resume? Like that's super cool to see, because you love the engagement, and you almost kind of think, where are these guys working now? Like, what type of company are they in now? And why are they so drawn to what we're doing? Isn't this what everybody else does? And then when you realize, like, no, that's not, it's kind of a light bulb moment, which is fun.
Yeah.
But no, social media is good. I've just been taking my time away from it because I see the effects of using it, and I see the effects of not using it. I don't know. Again, my input, I'm just trying to learn as much as I can. And through my experiences right now, I don't have a lot of positive things to say, just because I'm going through the trenches and I'm learning a lot. So, but one thing you mentioned, your rules when you guys are, posting videos, doing videos, and you mentioned swearing. Why don't you post any of that?
Mainly
is it like a brand image with the company, or a company image that you just kind of want to display? Like, one thing I think of is professionalism, but
it's definitely a professionalism thing. And it's a family company, right? Like, it's still a family company. We have our family's kids and stuff. I'm assuming, I don't know, yes or no if they are, but in the off chance that they are watching daddy or mommy, bulldoze out there, then yeah, we just don't want to. If we can get around it, there's another song that goes with it, then great. We try to avoid it. I don't know, just don't think it's needed. But like I said, it's mainly professionalism, and we're still very much a family company. Keep things clean, we get together often and have company events very often, and everybody's all together. So you see the owners often, and the owner's mom, Laura Lee, she's our like events branding marketing guru, and she's been around forever. So it's just a family atmosphere that we don't need F-bombs going, fuck this, fuck that. It's not needed, I guess, to get the point across in the video. So
all right, you dirtbags, we're going to take a quick break to thank one of our sponsors, Lambert Insurance Services. If you know Luke and I, we started this podcast to provide value to the construction industry. When we went to seek out an insurance company to work with, there's not a whole lot that are specific to the industry, and we really didn't want to work with a generalist agency, so we kind of put that on the back burner. Then we got to meet Sam Lambert. Sam is a fellow dirtbag himself. He's been in the industry for a long time, but he also started his insurance company in 2008 specifically for construction companies. So when we had that conversation, we knew that this would be the perfect match. So we started working with him, and he's been incredible. He leads first. He wants to be a resource first and an insurance agency second. They can help with provide general liability, workers' comp, commercial truck insurance, insurance for equipment, and so many more different avenues that he can provide coverage for. The great part about it is, they're licensed in most states, and they always quote through multiple companies. So that's how you know you can get a competitive rate. And even better, Sam, he's the owner. He wanted to provide his cell number just so if you have any questions, specifically from the dirtbags, you can always text him, give him a call, ask to compare plans, or just ask, what his rates would be, and then he can help direct you to the right place or answer your question from there. His number is 385-204-5799, or you can reach them at their website, which is lambert-ins.com. So reach out to him if you have any insurance questions. We're very excited about this partnership. Sam is an awesome guy, and we're just excited to continue providing value for all you dirtbags. So thank you, Lambert Insurance. Give him a text, shoot him a call, let him know that you're fans of the Dirtbags podcast. All right, you dirtbags, are you tired of tedious manual data collection and costly field studies in your quarry or sand and gravel operations? Let's talk about Vantage Point, the first quarry operations software crafted to meet the high demands of modern data-driven quarrying. Seamlessly connect all of your equipment data and access the crucial information you need instantly. Be the hero of your operation by boosting efficiency, exceeding your productivity goals, and bottom line revenue with Vantage Point. Discover why 4 of the top 6 aggregate material producers in the U.S. are using Vantage Point. Visit vantagepointquarry.com/dirt to learn more.
Yeah.
Is that,
Yeah.
do you guys drill that with like your core values or like your mission statement, like image? Is that kind of integrated?
Yeah. Yeah. And we actually just kind of redid our core values and all that stuff. So, I mean, one of those, like I mentioned, was reach your greatest potential. Our next one is believe in others more than they believe in themselves. Next is take pride in keeping your word. And then embrace humility and positivity. And then like lastly, which would go towards the swearing, is foster respect and care. So yeah. So if we can avoid it, we will.
Yeah.
It's tough at times. Like there's a lot of good songs out there, obviously, that, I mean, swear, I don't mind. Like it's a construction industry. We swear 24/7 in the field. But yeah, that's just our thing. So
That's cool. That's cool. Cause I mean, you see both spectrums. Like like you had mentioned earlier, I watched Taylor's stuff and all of them are fucking flicking the cameras off, and it's like, that's cool. Cause that's like raw content within the company. And it shows like, we don't really give a fuck, but then they also display their works. But then on the opposite spectrum, you guys, no swearing, uphold the safety laws, showing what we do best, so there's 2 ends of the stick, which is really cool.
Yeah. And Kyle, I mean, how many employees is J-AAR now? I mean, it's massive.
Yeah, we're right around 580 is the last number. I think I've heard 580, 590.
Is that all the companies?
Yeah. So there's a few divisions or sections, but yeah, I think when I started in 2020, we were about 450, I think, or so. So we've grown maybe even less, 400 to 450, and we've done a lot of growing in the last 4 or 5 years. 5 years for sure. We've acquired a few companies, so
that's cool.
Yeah, which has helped the growth. It's not all natural. It's acquiring a few different companies. And
so how do you keep your brand consistent if you've acquired a few companies and you've got, like I was telling you earlier, I just wrote down J-AAR Excavating because I didn't want to write down all the other ones. So like, how do you keep all those straight and keep your messaging consistent?
Yeah. So when they were looking at other companies, and I don't know if they were looking or other companies were looking to sell. I'm not sure what the situations have been. But they're, again, small, not small, but they're family run, family, companies, close knit companies that their values, their core values kind of aligned very closely. The goals of them aligned, and it kind of made sense for the companies to work together and be under, for scheduling and efficiencies and stuff like that. If you have a company digging a basement and then a company coming in and forming it, and it's dug wrong or improper, that forming company is going to go after the excavator for, time and extras and all this. But if we're both companies, you can't do that. So that's like, you talk to the customer and say, hey, we're not going to have extras because we're not, it's internal. It's an internal cost that we screwed up. Then the cost doesn't go to the customer or the owner, it goes internal to us. So do it right the first time, because our own company is coming in next to pour and do the footings and the foundation. So that's just one example. But so that was Concrete Forming, was the company that they acquired, actually right kind of when I started, or a few months before, I believe. So they brought over, my numbers might be off a bit, but 150, 160 guys roughly, give or take. So that's high rise, mid rise, low rise concrete forming. So we had 5 or 6 cranes up in London at one time. We have 4 up, I think, right now. We're waiting on a few jobs. Doing a 40-story building right now, which is the tallest in Ontario, west of Toronto, which is pretty cool. So yeah. Cool. And then the other company we required was Walmsley Paving. So their paving, which goes hand in hand with their road reconstructions. Same thing, like we kept their logo. We kept the concrete forming logo. Walmsley, we kept their logo kind of smaller, but still on the paving equipment. So we got new paving equipment. J-AAR logoed it up with leaves and stuff, but we kept, smaller Walmsley logos. So yeah, that's kind of been the route. And with the concrete forming, I guess I left out, they also had a ready mix plant, which goes hand in hand with the forming. So you supply your own ready mix. So they're called Dutch Brothers, is the logo with the big lion on the side of it, the mixers. So, but yeah, the orange, I would say the orange and the leaf is kind of what ties it all together.
Yeah.
It's definitely tough, or it has been tough at times, making everyone aware from like Kitchener or Toronto that are 2 or 3 hours away. Like, this is all one company. We do this, and this. They all have different logos, but we're all the same company. So, but yeah, no, it's been good. We all kind of mesh well. It's a big group, but they all seem to get along, and we all have the same goals and core values. So yeah, it's a good fit.
Any big news coming up or anything?
Yeah. So the news, it's now public, but as of April 1st of next year coming here, we are switching our name just to J-AAR. So it'll just be the leaf on everything where we can put the leaf, and it'll be J-AAR, and then under J-AAR will be your divisions. So those we haven't even made a decision on which, like, it'll be, civil, structural, or forming, and then paving, utilities, stuff like that. So yeah, nothing's set in stone for the divisions yet, but one name. We're gonna do a big brand, kind of not really a rebrand, I guess, but a big marketing launch and brand kind of splash, kind of revamp our website. There'll be one Instagram now instead of the 4. So
yeah.
And then that way too, like I've been pitching, if we have one Instagram, you can post, us doing a subdivision on Monday, you can post us doing a high rise on Tuesday or Wednesday, paving on the Thursday, and then, Friday we're pouring concrete ready mix, or doing utilities, which is a newer division that we just started too. So yeah, we can kind of do it all, and then it makes for more content at the end of the day.
Yeah, selfishly, that helps you out a ton because it just
Yeah.
all the engagement
Yeah.
funnels into one profile instead of
Yeah.
your 4 or 5 pages.
Yeah.
Also in the in the marketing push too, maybe a couple new golf shirts. So I'll keep my
Yeah.
eyes peeled for them.
I actually had one designed when I was doing these ones that had all 4 logos on them, like the J-AAR and the CFL and the R-Rock aggregates and the Dutch Brothers logo. But the Leaf kind of won because I figured in ConExpo more people would recognize the Leaf first than a bunch of random logos.
Yeah.
Definitely helped us find each other at
That's
ConExpo. That's for sure.
That's cool. I want to dive into, if you're okay with it, the owners.
Yeah.
Because you said they're brothers, right?
Yeah, there's 3
There's
brothers.
two.
Yeah.
There's 3 of them. To create that kind of culture to where like you go out and just acquire these different businesses and you're like, hey, here's what we're about, either get on or get out type thing.
Yeah.
If you can walk us through kind of the culture, if that makes sense. What are they about? What do they try to represent? What do they do well that you as an employee are like, I'm with these guys. I am here. I am here to do my best and I'm going to give them my all.
So they're all very different, I would say. They're all very driven and very smart guys, in their own ways, I would say. Like, so there's Ryan, Jonathan, and Kevin. Kevin's very calm, I would say. He's very like cool, calm, collected, very smart. He thinks things through, very supportive. You can go to him with anything, and he'll give you probably the best support and best answer to your problem, really, and guide you that way. Then there's Ryan, who is my direct boss, CEO, president of all of the companies, and he's very analytical, very numbers driven. But he like Kevin, they do the research. They like having backup data, and he's very future driven too. Like, he's kind of looking at the 5-year plan, the 10-year plan, what things look like growth wise. Always about reaching your full potential. Where do you want to be? How do you want to get there? How can you get there? How can I help? And then Jonathan's he's the people person. Go. Yeah, he's very good at relationships. He was kind of like my mentor when I started up here with the Instagram and meeting people, introducing me to people. So he kind of takes care of the development side of the companies now. So, but yeah, they all have kind of a piece of the puzzle, right? Which is good that they're all different and not the same, probably button heads, and who knows where that would go.
What keeps you around?
Sorry?
What keeps you around? Like what draws you to the company to where you're like, whether you're like, I'm a lifer here, or hey, I'm gonna put 10 years here. Like, what is your draw? What do they do well that makes you want to stay?
The people, honestly, like the teams that you're surrounded by every day. Like, you walk in the office or walk in the field, all good people, all nice people. I'm sure that everybody has a bad day, but they're all nice. They're all, communicate, say hi, shoot the shit. All smart guys, all supportive. If you're having trouble, there's a ton of people there that'll help you out. You just call them, text them, whatever. And the growth is obviously an attractive thing, right? Like, you're working for a company that if you're not going forwards, you're shrinking or going backwards, right? So there's always ways to learn there, and there's always going to be work because they're always trying to keep going up and up and up. So yeah, it's just knowing every day that there's good people at the office waiting for you. There's a ton of work to be done. There's a lot of good times to be had, and people, like, even the customers are great. Like, I don't go or wake up hating it and like, oh, I wish I won. Well, everybody wishes they won the lottery, but it's, yeah, you like going to work. So that's the main thing. And it's very I guess to your question, it's very flexible. Like they're not breathing down my neck. They're not breathing down, the estimator's necks or the PMs. It's not micromanaged at all. They trust the people and they trust that you're doing the right thing. And I mean, if you're not doing the right thing, it's going to be very apparent very quickly. Like if one job just loses a bunch of money and the rest are killing it, or the customers start saying, oh, well, like that Kyle guy, like fuck him, blah blah blah. Like it's gonna get back to them very quickly. So yeah, they trust in their employees, and yeah, that's probably the main things. The no micromanaging, and yeah, it's good.
Cool.
No complaints.
Do you try to incorporate kind of how you explain that into like your videos, or like when somebody asks you like, hey, what are you guys about, looking to kind of come on, like how do you present that to people?
Right. Yeah, and I would say that's somewhere that's something we could probably do better, or like is kind of in our plans, I guess, to maybe do like little in-field interviews that are like 2-minute quick interviews with a guy, like, hey, pull a guy off the crew for 2 seconds and have 5 questions ready. Like, why do you work for J-AAR Excavating? What wakes you up in the morning? Why did you choose here, etc., like you're saying? Do some of those is kind of what we're thinking to incorporate, like once a month, even just to have that engagement with the in-field direct employees. So that's kind of on our radar to do. We don't, like you're saying, we don't necessarily have paragraphs on paragraphs for our posts, which we could tell the story of that job better, or the crew that's there better, maybe.
I feel like that deters people though.
Yeah.
If there's too many words, I'm like, I'm not fucking reading.
That's kind of what I felt too. Like for a while I was just putting like 3 or 4 word things in caps as like the caption, and then hashtags.
No.
And it seemed to work fine. But then there's some projects though, like the guys do deserve, recognition for like doing a massive project and killing it. And then you want to explain it too, because if some of the public, like, people hate being in traffic jams, or like roads are closed or this and that. So it's like, maybe this is our opportunity to explain, like, the job was done ahead of schedule, blah blah blah. Yeah, we slowed down traffic for 6 months, but the guys killed it. And like, thank you for your patience and driving slow through the construction zone and stuff like that. Yeah. So yeah, it's a balancing act for sure on the captions, and people sitting at home, checking out the pictures and looking for something wrong in every single picture at times, it seems. So
I feel like you really got to make it relatable in today's world.
Yeah.
Right? Because like we were talking about earlier, a lot has changed even from 2020 to where video in the dirt world wasn't really a thing, right? There wasn't a lot of people doing it. There wasn't a lot of coverage to it, but now it seems like everybody and their mom is doing it. So, but what stays consistent is the relatability to it.
Right. Yeah. 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 You just got to keep, like, that's where I just kind of, you monitor, or you just swipe through. And I mean, build, like, the companies that we follow, the BuildWits and you guys and Phaser and all these companies are all I don't know if we're all just keeping each other like recent and up to the times, but yeah, you just see what other people are doing and you just kind of not mimic. You try to mimic it, but with your own work,
in your own company way.
Yeah. Kyle, I got something on that though, because I totally agree. You do have to kind of consume a bit to know what to stay sharp and what people want to see and what's the best out there. So like, how do you not over consume content of other people's pages?
That'd be a good question for my fiance, because she probably says that I put the phone down and get some blue light glasses, and you've looked at a screen for 10 hours today, and you get in bed and you're like this, and it's like, wow, what am I doing? Like, yeah, I don't know. It's almost an addiction. Like, I love music too. Like, I just love good catchy songs, and I love excavators and dozers and stuff. So it's not work to me when you're just like watching cool videos of construction. But yeah, you gotta sort of make time for yourself and know when to put it down. Like Luke said, he's taking a bit of a break from it, because he's in the trenches. But still, like you gotta look after yourself too and take a break every once in a while. And then maybe when you come back in a month or two, and then there's a new trend, so then you can kind of learn something new and move on to that kind of style. So
Yeah, you gotta, put the phone down, take the Corvette out for a spin, and get some fresh air.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Wish I had a Corvette, but if I had one, I'd definitely take one out for a spin.
yeah.
Kyle does.
Well, I can send it down if you put us up for a couple months in your place. It's too cold up here now. It's
What do you
part
got,
cold.
Kyle? A 1969 or what? What do you?
No, I wish. It's a 2016.
Hell yeah!
Just a Stingray. She's a good time though. That's
Good for
my
you.
that's my therapy. That's my time off of watching reels.
That's fun. No, you gotta have something to enjoy other than work, right? Even though you might enjoy work as much as possible, but there has to be outside sources to kind of relieve stress, get your
Yeah,
mind off things, get a whole new focus on things. Oh yeah, that's cool.
yeah, yeah. You got to get out. We have 2 dogs too, and they keep us busy, and that's always fun to get out, and just enjoy fresh air every once in a while too. So
Oh yeah, no, it's cool. But no, I'm
1969. Is that your goal? Is that what on your wish
nah,
list?
no, I just thought of 69 because we just put a 69 number on one of our dump trucks, and I was like, maybe he's got a 69. Who knows? That was a great year for crops, from what I heard. But
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
no, that's fun.
cool.
How? Go ahead, Luke.
Yeah, I was gonna jump in. Kyle, we talked about this a little bit, before we started, but more so on the business development side. I know there's a lot of people in those roles, of course, but you seem to have done a really good job. And I just attested to like my experience of getting to know you. Like we had no idea who each other were. And then all of a sudden it felt like we were friends and like you weren't trying to sell me anything. And so how do you like find these people, or how do you go about like um putting yourself out there and putting the brand out there to people that aren't going to pay J-AAR any money, if that makes
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah. No, the biggest thing is like you kind of nailed it on the head. Like, don't force or try to sell like something. I don't know. I've played hockey most of my life, and I feel like being on a team is a lot easier than being by yourself.
Yeah.
And those relationships from hockey when I was, 5 years old till I played 25 years old or something like that. I'm still friends with all those guys. It's the same small group, like group of 20 guys, 25 guys, and that's your team, right? So like even in construction, you have your teams, you have your crews, you have your one big hockey team, basically is how I see it. And then with you and customers, it's the same thing. Like I would much rather, that's why COVID hurt me, because I would much rather go for a beer, go for a burger, go hit the golf course or whatever, and just to ask them, how's your family? Like, do you have kids? What do you do on your spare time? Focus on that stuff rather than, hey, like, can we price that job coming out next week or next month or whatever? Like, that's, I don't know, that's too like in the face. It's like an email, in-person email. You're just like, hey, like, we want your business. This is why you're here. I'm buying you a beer so that, like, I don't know, it's just not the way to go about it. I like getting to know people, like taking the time, even to meet, for us to meet. You took the time out of your night to meet us, me and ConExpo, and vice versa. We didn't have to see each other. We could have just been texting or Instagramming and just left it at that, right? But you take the time out of your day to meet people and in person, and it goes a lot farther, I find. So
Yeah. And I think too, sometimes, especially with like business owners, they can get too dialed in with like sales and like trying to develop the
yeah,
business. Well, how is this moving the needle? It's like sometimes you just need to take a step back and just build genuine relationships.
yeah,
And where that starts is being genuinely interested in somebody else other than yourself or your own
yeah,
business. And so, I think you just do such a great job about with that. But yeah, a lot of times it may not lead to that sale or that revenue that you're looking for, but that shouldn't matter at the end of the day, because it's like you said, building that whole team of like support and that network. I mean, that's, why they call it networking. It's just,
Yeah.
building that, and it should be diverse. There should be other people that, aren't just your potential clients. And so, yeah, it's interesting to hear you talk about that, of, how you go about it and how you're not doing it out of desperation either. You're just like
Yeah.
genuinely interested in getting to know people.
Yeah. And I'm just by nature, like I'm more of a face guy than a name guy too. Like names are tough, which in being in my role, you kind of need to know names or remember names. But like I find just working on that, or like remembering key things about people when you see them again, and if you're like, hey, how's your wife,
Yeah.
Denise, like the fact that you remembered their name, they take a liking to that, or it like means that you actually care, right? Like you actually care about that person and their life, not just what they have to offer and a paycheck or a next job. So, and I do find too, with meeting people, if you're, be a good person, it should come naturally, but they also have a network that they talk to. So I mean, these guys are customers or potential customers, but they also know 3 or 4 or 5 other development companies and other guys that are at the same level as them. And they probably all hang out or whatever. And it's like, you want them to help grow your network without you even being there half the time is the best way to go about it.
Yeah. And it goes both ways too, right? Like if you start screwing people over and you start burning
Yeah.
the
Oh yeah.
bridges, like there's
Yeah.
a bigger network effect,
Yeah.
negatively as well.
It's a huge industry, but a small world. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a lot of like reoccurring customers, or like when you say customers, like your customer base, is it, a specific set of GCs that you guys work with? Is it municipalities that you work with? Like,
Yeah.
where's your customer
So
base?
yeah, so we have private. Well, everybody has the private and the public. So we do like the city of London, city of St. Thomas, a bunch of municipalities around the surrounding area. We'll basically go. We have like an umbrella, like hour to 2 hours outside of London, which is like all your cities and your regions that we'll do work for, and that just comes through bids and tenders. It's called here. I don't know if you guys have a similar
Yep.
setup. So everybody takes like plan takers. You have your 5 to 10 guys that take plans.
Yep.
5 or 6 submit prices, and then usually low guy takes it, and that's all form of tender, apples to apples. So it's fairly straightforward. But then yeah, we have our private land developers for subdivisions, high rises, and those guys. So we do have a lot of recurring, like our biggest customers are putting in like one subdivision a year, say. Some of our high rise guys have 3 or 4 high rises going on, and then they have another 3 or 4 plans, 5 years from now, once those ones are done. So yeah, I would say like our customer base, I don't even know the exact number, but there's a ton of reoccurring, and then like through word of mouth and stuff like that, or Google, or business development, I guess too. Everybody at our company is a business development person at the end of the day, right? Like you're always representing
You represent the
company.
business.
Yeah. So yeah, we get a lot of work through that, and just having job site trailers or projects in other cities. Maybe this guy drives through one of our jobs and says, "Oh, who's this guy?" Like they're from out of town or whatever, and he looks us up. So yeah, we get a handful of new customers every year, and that's why I try to I meet with consultants and stuff like that too, right? Because then they're gonna propose to developers who goes on that list, the tender list. So
Yeah, well, that's good to know. Yeah, because it's cool to see, because we're still in that growing stage to where all of our business is new business, is what I'll classify it. There's a couple contractors that like, hey, bid this project for me, but it's not to the point of you're our guy, if that makes sense. It's, you still have proving to do. So it's fun to hear, the developed side, to where, hey, these are our customers. This is what we do to try to keep them happy. And here's our process. No, that's cool.
yeah, and I mean a lot of guys too that are reoccurring. Like you got to keep yourself honest, and they want to keep you honest too. And at those times, sometimes they'll have like 3 or 4 guys, or usually every time they want to take 3 numbers.
Mhm.
And I mean, that comes down to how busy you are, how bad you want it, and a few other factors, right? But yeah, and that's, I would rather price it against 3 people than the 7 or 8 too, right? So yeah, there's never, well, I would say it's very rare that it's just like you're the guy. Don't even worry about pricing it. Just do the
Yeah,
job.
just send us a number, and yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think it'll ever be that way, but it'd be nice.
Yeah. So,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
it's been good.
That's cool to see the side of like the business development, because like Luke, you were talking about, having some personality to it, having some personability to it, to whereas like the owners, it is tough to get out of that like sales role in a way, because you are the business. But if you, Kyle, like yourself, if you take somebody on that is focused on the business development, focused on the people aspect, it's like a whole new perspective, which is cool.
Yeah, Luke, I want to jump in there too, because you mentioned focus. Like for the owners, it's a big investment into Kyle, and you think of time too, because business development doesn't just happen in 6 months. Like it has to be a long term.
It's like a minimum of 3 to 5 years, I feel like.
Yeah. And then Kyle, on your end too, like you're going into the saying like, okay, I'm not just going to give this a 6-month crack here. I'm going to, invest into it. So, that's a tough position to, wrestle with, because it's a long-term projection. It's a long-term view. But like you said earlier with the owners, that's what they're doing. They're looking out, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, and they're looking to go somewhere bigger than where they're at right now.
Yeah. And it was that, I think, wasn't this role before me. Luke, like you said, it was the owners were doing the business development. They have the last name, it's their company. They've already established these customers, and they have the name, and they know everybody. So obviously the customer wants to talk to them. So like that would be my biggest weakness. I told Ryan, I'm like, well, you could adopt me because like my last name isn't Arts, so that's like my first weakness. But it's about the 5-year plan almost of, if you're around Ryan, if you're hanging around with the guys at the top of our company, then these guys see me, my face more and more and more, and they're like, oh, this guy's still around. Oh, he's here. He must be part of like the plan or something like that, or he must, be working on something with Ryan. So I would just try to, align myself with Ryan and go to these events and go to these associations and dinners and hockey games and stuff like that. And picked up golf again. It's been a while since I golfed, but
Hell yeah.
There you
Golf
go.
is one of the best
again.
tools. If anybody's looking to
Yeah.
improve like your business, golf.
Yeah, you put little leaves. I got leaves on all my balls, and I just spray them everywhere, and it's good.
Yeah, you do that on purpose, right?
That's on purpose for sure.
Shank left, shank right. Hell,
Yeah, toss a couple water balls in there just in case someone's swimming.
I should start.
So it's very much like you said, a 5-year plan where you plant the seeds, and even a year or two ago, like you start seeing some of those sprout, and they gain trust in me, and they see where it's going. So it's getting there. It's definitely getting better.
That's huge. Kyle, I've got one more for you. I think it's super interesting, the position you're in, obviously with J-AAR, but also doing your own thing with Brady Visuals, and kind of the combination between the two. But my question would be, do you have any sort of like starter kit that you'd recommend somebody to use? And I want to be clear, like, I think there's the person out there that owns a construction company that may want to do this for their own company, just kind of on the side. And then there's probably that person that wants to start their own creative agency. Like, what would you recommend to those two people, what they can get started with?
Like equipment, you're talking like gear?
Yeah, equipment, softwares, like anything you use or would recommend.
Yeah. Well, drone for sure. Depends what you're filming. Like I had a mini 3 or 4 years ago, DJI Mini. Maybe they make them better now. It was like the first one, and it was tough flying in wind for sure. So you'd be in the middle of a field, and the battery would just die quickly because of the wind. It'd be competing with that. It'd be shaky. So I got rid of that real quick. I just have a DJI Mavic Air right now, Air 2. So it's like a year or two old. Does the trick. Quality is amazing. And it lasts, it's up in the air probably 20 minutes per battery, I think, 3 batteries. So for, yeah, like an owner that wants to kind of do it on his own, I would definitely have a drone with a few batteries. I mean, iPhones are very good quality if he's going to be like right up close taking video, get like a mini, like a tripod or something, or even a GoPro with like some suction mounts or bar clamp mounts for the cab. Yeah, that would be probably the easiest, cheapest route to go. And then obviously if you want to do your own thing with more like a creative and have more flexibility with distance and quality and editing kind of side of things, then yeah, go. I have a Sony A7 IV camera, 3 lenses that are kind of wide angle. Then I have like a medium and then a long telephoto 200 mil lens. And then obviously have a drone and tripod and probably mics too, or a big one. Good mics, lighting, those all help for sure. Mics are a big one, like if you're doing interviews and stuff in the field, especially you want to have a good like windbreaker and good quality mics. So
Yeah. Do you use like Rode, or who do you use for mics?
right now I just like I knew nothing going into this like a year or two ago, so I just picked some up off Amazon that like filter by review and bought those ones.
Nice.
I don't even know what brand they are, to be honest, but I have been looking now at like better quality stuff. The DJI ones or the Rode ones are probably going to be my next purchase. So,
Oh yeah.
and then software wise, I use Adobe Premiere and Photoshop and Lightroom if you just want to do quick color edits, which I also didn't even start really editing photos till about 3 or 4 months ago. I usually just hit the auto. And then when I hired the guy, Nick's his name, to help me out. And he's like, I was just like, yeah, just hit auto and I'll post it or whatever. He's like, what do you mean? Because he's like a bit like he's into it, he's good at it, and he goes into the raws and like starts screwing around with it. So now he's kind of got me hooked on that too.
That's awesome.
It turns out better in the end for sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, Kyle, your perspective is super cool because again, it's a different perspective that not a lot of companies get to see as far as like the development side, because a lot of the companies that, you know, we hear from, they are the business development. So it's fun to get another opinion that isn't an owner, right? And then to get their perspective of the company as well. So thank you, you know, for your time on that.
No, I appreciate the invite too. I guess I do come from being in the trenches. Like I started shoveling dirt when I was 18. So maybe that's like I've always had the knack for construction, and just seeing, you know, a field turn into a big building or a high rise or a subdivision with, you know, 100 houses on it, which it's been pretty cool. Yep. I used to be in the wind turbine kind of industry, renewable energy. So that was cool. That's kind of what opened my eyes to heavy equipment. So that helps having that background for sure.
Absolutely, it does. Absolutely, it does. Fun industry and just fun to really kind of show off and showcase and be a part of.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But Luke, I think that's a podcast, man.
Dude, Kyle, thank you. That was awesome. We appreciate your time. We appreciate the shirt. Luke missed the memo. So
yeah, I'll get one here eventually. I gotta get more made, and I gotta send you some copies.
Trust me, I had to pay for this because he said the only way I can get it is if we meet up in Vegas, and so we played some blackjack, played some slots. So I paid a good couple $100 for it.
You paid your dues for that shirt. I totally respect that.
No, I'll have to get your address and send you one over.
Deal.
He told me it's a Friday thing, but I figured I couldn't go without it. So
yeah,
I appreciate you rocking it too.
Luke, you look good. Kyle, you look good. Sorry, I missed the memo, boys.
It's all good. Well, Kyle, we appreciate it, man. Thanks for being on the podcast, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Thanks a lot. See you guys.
Thanks, Kyle.